Good morning, it's Monday and welcome to Summer's Way of Life. It's been a while since I posted and I have been out and about and largely in Wales, driving to Wales, beautiful Swansea to be precise, supporting a family member in his musical endeavours, and it was a wonderful experience. And the landscape around Wales was beautiful. Just driving along the M4, which from London takes you directly, literally you just sit on the M4, it takes you straight through, crossing the Prince of Wales Bridge and straight over into Wales, and then you've got the hills and the greenery and the landscapes, and we had lots and lots and lots of rain here too, in the east, southeast. So let me just give you a garden update, and then I really want to speak to you about a couple of really wise thoughts that have come to mind through recent experiences. It's always through recent experiences and learning that wisdom enters, and I think the key here is our ability to perceive certain experiences in a way that's in alignment to our true nature and our inner tuition. And I'm going to expand upon that later, but for now, the garden has been ignored, which is not always a bad thing, for almost a week. It's been 6-7 days I've not done anything, and let's just show you what's happening in the garden. The first thing, I know the weather's not great, it's not a great time to do this, is if you look there, you can see the sunflowers are out. I wish the sun was out. It was earlier this morning. Let me just turn this background to the patio area, and you can see the colour now. Really, you can't appreciate it on video because of the light as much as you would in real life, but let me just show you. These dwarf sunflowers, they are phenomenal. They almost don't look real, but of course they are. I've put 3 in a pot here, and it kind of works. I don't think it would work to have 1 in a pot. They look lovely when they're together, and I will be sorting out and organising where, well, should let nature organise itself, but I am going to organise and put them in places where it's more pleasing to the eye, even though this is the efforts of all the hard work. I'm not sure whether I showed you that beautiful spider lily, but it's still there. 2 have now gone, and even this lettuce, this salad which was wilting, I put it in the shade and it loves it in this area. Repotted it, and I just cut pieces off when we need them every day. Look at the coriander. Look, 3rd, 4th, 5th attempt, and it's finally succeeded. I caught a big slug in here this morning because I've not been on slug patrol. So I caught 5 or 6 slugs yesterday because we had heavy rain. But these are wonderful. So the coriander is working, and I kind of think I figured out how to do it. A slug managed to climb over even past all these copper coins, but it still acts as a deterrent for sure. It's just these geraniums, look. Now, I'm disappointed with the tomato plants. We have got some meagre little fruits coming out, but everything's been late this year, and I'm keeping them alive. They are fruiting. It's just I mean, look, we are mid-July, and this is what they look like in my garden anyway. Right. One of my hanging baskets, see, look at this hanging basket when we made, doesn't it look beautiful? Now this is the key. Excuse me. Here's the key, that when you make these hanging baskets, you put them together in a way, the idea is so that they last throughout the entire summer and even into early autumn, even winter in some cases. This is now mid-July and it's still flowering. The geraniums have just come up at the top, and these beautiful flowers here, I can't remember the name, but I have got them, and I did actually share them here when I was making these, but I will be doing my admin by looking at the ones that have done really well and then writing them down and making sure I use them next year. It's all about ensuring you're organised. This is the one that fell off because we had so much rain. The pot must have got really heavy and it broke the chains. And you can see here, it's flowing down. See, the pot is here, but this is flowing down with these beautiful lobelia, which were the cheapest lobelia that I found in Range Superstore. It was like, I don't know, £3 for 6 plants, 12 plants I think it was. Ridiculous, but don't they look beautiful now? Just look at the colour. Over here, the wildflower garden is springing to life. So these are wild flowers that are coming up, again a bit late. You've got some calendula there, cosmoses, and I don't know what these are. These ones, there was a lot in this seed mix. I'm probably one of the cheapest ones, but I'm just waiting for them to flower to see what they look like. If anyone does, let me know. And strawberries, I mean, honestly, it's strawberry galore at the moment. Look, oh my God, look at the size of this one. I'm actually going to take that off now. Yeah, look at that. It's lovely. There are lots coming up and it's wonderful. Now, these Marifat pea plants, they're turning yellow, so they need some nutrition because they're very, very hungry. So for me, that looks like they need more nitrogen. That kind of makes sense. I'm going to just put a balanced fertiliser in and put lots of organic matter down. Organic matter with things left over in the house. So I'm going to put banana peel and just anything I can find, but I will give it some I might give it some seaweed, liquid seaweed, which I have, and that will help it. I think also one of the reasons they might be yellow is because we've had just too much rain. So I'm not sure. I'm just, I'm experimenting. I don't know the answers. All I do know is that these plants, you can see here, they're laden with peas, and I will be picking these. It's actually a fruit time. Starts 3 o'clock this afternoon, but it is a descending moon. We've had the new moon, I think, on Friday, and I think a good time, always the best time to harvest is in the morning when the energy is up in the fruit, not in the afternoon. So I might harvest these tomorrow morning, and it's probably best it just makes sense to me when the moon is ascending, because it's pulling all the energy up to the top of the plant, and of course you want to consume that nutrition. But I'm not going to wait 2 weeks for that, so I'm going to harvest them probably tomorrow. These are the giant sunflowers in pots, and look how amazing they look. They're facing south, which is the other side, because yeah, there you go, absolutely stunning. I really do need to start harvesting. There's no point doing what I'm doing and then not harvesting. And there's lots of carrots here. I'm not sure about these garlic. I did harvest a couple, and it's too early, by the way. I shouldn't be harvesting them until very late in the year, but I don't think they've done well. I think I sowed them too late. Now, if we go into the greenhouse, first of all, this bottle gourd is growing like mad, and I'm just waiting for it to flower now, which it will. But I do need to manage all these things. It's the maintenance. I've been pinching out these beautiful tomato plants, and it's working. Look, these tomatoes are forming now on the trusses, and I'll have to keep pinching out and just keep managing. They've got plenty of air in between. It's doing well. This is cucumber. They like being in the greenhouse, so it's doing quite well, but it needs more sun. These are foxgloves for next year, which are just phenomenal. Now, courgettes, I've still got them in pots. They've done quite well, and climbing beans, but it's not too late. It is a fruit time, so again, I'm going to be transplanting these. See, these are important things. Descending moon, fruit day this afternoon. I will transplant these this evening so that the energy is going down into the earth. It will help the roots take form, and it has the lunar rhythm on its side. Okay, plenty of time now. Here, oh, broken. This is the cumin plant that succeeded. I'm over the moon that this has succeeded, although it's hard effort because this is not the climate for cumin. Over here, the marjoram took forever to germinate, but we've got a few marjoram plants here which are germinating. It's a bit dry. See, it's like a little game, gardening. You have to realise that not everything is going to go your way, but that's part of the success. Giant sunflower. This one is really creeping up high. It's not flowered yet. Right. Compost heap. Feel absolutely blessed because we had so much rain, and that's beautiful for the garden. And of course the compost heap. The one thing that people miss and forget about compost heap is water. They need lots. Compost heaps need lots and lots of water. So the rain yesterday saved me a big job, and it would have drenched everything. I think we had about 3 inches, didn't we, or more, over a period of days. Plums are everywhere, and this is one fruit tree that's doing really well. Plenty of fruit here, you can see, hundreds of, but the peach tree is not doing well. Let me just show you. By the way, look at this, broccoli, cabbage. This cabbage ahead here is doing really well. The onions are starting to plump up, can you see? And these are leeks. Remember, these are not like the leeks you buy in the supermarkets. The leeks you grow in the garden are much slimmer and thinner. They're not genetically modified, which is not good for you. Stand about genetic modification, I had actually posted a link, and it was explained very well by the scientist Dr. Shiva on what actually happens when through using computational systems biology to explain to you what actually happens when plants are genetically modified and how it weakens them. And it's all centered around glutathione and other pesticides, and weakness to how the immune system of the plant deals with itself. And of course, when we eat that, that's going to affect us. Of course it is. Look, I need to harvest these now and start making pies, rhubarb crumbles and things. This borage, look, it's in a pot. And how beautiful does it look? I just love it. I'm waiting for it to flower. Look at the size of this beetroot down here. Everything's doing well. It's just everything. There's food everywhere. It's really lovely. Spinach hasn't done particularly well this year, but it's all right. We're harvesting enough. Salad leaves, I've put them into the ground really well. They're happy here. Peas, tomatoes. I've brought tomatoes out into different areas of the garden, and yeah, I've had to because I've got too many, and they're doing well. Now look at this poor borage. It's fallen. I need to prop it up, but you can see how beautifully big it's grown. God, there. We just need some management. Lots of deadheading required. And out here, I don't know whether these corn are going to grow into sweet corn or not, whether I'll get them or not, but it's working. They're growing, and I'll need to stake them. These onions, look at the size of these onions. They're doing really well in these pots. I can't remember what type of onions they are, but they're doing well. Now the potatoes, I think I need to harvest them. Look, they might have rotted in the rain, but I do need to take this one out and harvest it quite soon, and I'm going to do that in the next couple of days. There's quite a lot of work involved. Look at these. carrots, they are looking pretty amazing. Look at them. Can you see? They look thick and red. There's three together here. So the garden is looking really quite wonderful. I'm very happy. Lots of vegetables, lots of colour. Nothing's really failed miserably. Nothing's really that abundant as it should be because of the weather, but we persevere, don't we? I wanted to talk to you about I wanted to share a couple of thoughts that I've had over the last few days. Oh, I'm going to repeat it because these are things that I've mentioned before, but maybe in a different way. When you learn something, I'm going to give you an example first. See, whenever you seek to educate yourself, you go to an outside source. We as human beings have two sides to us. One side, unfortunately for the vast majority of people, has died, and they're not able to revive it, which is our inner tuition, which is a very, very powerful inner standing that we have within us. And it's often, people call it gut instinct and all this kind of thing, but it's played down. It shouldn't. It should be at the very forefront of everything. And I've said this before, call it your inner tuition. It's an understanding from inside that you cannot ignore if you know that inner tuition is stemming from the right source. And that's a source of nature. My breathing yesterday was terrible when I was driving in the car back and forth. I did maybe 1,000 miles, and it kind of disrupted my routine. But at the same time, in that time, I had a lot of time to think. When you're driving long distances on a straight road, it can be quite meditative as well. Being in the garden today, this morning, I felt like I was in a tropical rainforest, and my breathing just improved. Not been eating so well in the last 3 days either. This is what happens. So you have to recognise what your body needs and wants and give it that. For me, it's nature. When I'm here, I don't feel like I'm in or around London and around the toxins, the energy I'm getting and the oxygen I'm getting from my plants. And it's all the more powerful when you've worked with nature to create everything. It's alive, it helps you. The nature, she helps you when you help her and respect her. So going back to what I was saying, when you learn and take information in from the internet or from an individual who you may respect hugely, always be aware not to absorb yourself into that person's, do not turn them into some sort of pedestal guru. Now, remember what I mean. You've got to understand that the fact when we speak, our mind is controlled through language. So when I'm saying guru, even though a guru is a dispeller of darkness, and that's fantastic, but don't let your mind turn that guru or that person who's well informed into a god. It's easily done. I've fallen prey to it many times, but I have a very strong intuition that I trust, that when I step back and I see certain things happening that are not in alignment with my moral code and compass, I trust that and I step back, and it's always the right choice. In the last 10 years, it's always been the right choice, right decision. So what I'm saying to all of you is, first of all, spend as much time offline as possible. Only go online when either you want to educate others, like I'm doing now with you. By the way, these are red mites, I think, from the chicken coop that I'm itching. No, it's all part of nature. Strengthen my immune system. So what was I saying? What I was saying was that have the ability to engage and take in information and knowledge, because we are here to learn, teach, and serve. Just because you are learning something from somebody who is smart and well educated doesn't mean you have to spend your life serving that person. That would be doing the opposite. The idea is that you learn and then you harness that information using your own unique gifts, and then use that to serve society in the way that best suits you and who you are. You are not here to play somebody else's game, because then you're becoming exactly what the system wants. A slave. Slavery comes in very many different forms. There are many. When I studied Bitcoin, and I studied Bitcoin every day for a year to understand it, and then realized what it was and who was controlling it, and it's a brilliant piece of technology. But I did realize that it is part of the system. And I knew when, yes, this is what I've learned, yes, this is great, I followed my inner tuition and I exited my interest in it and even an investment in it some time back, which was only small. But the point being is that you need to not get sucked into a savior program. And there are many, many types of savior programs. I advocate truth, freedom, and health. And I would say to you that health is the number one thing to harness, because without your health, you will not be able to think with clarity, and it's very easy to succumb to slavery, which is following somebody else's word. Never, ever do that. Don't follow. Be you. You be your own leader. So learn, respect those that teach you, but the moment you feel that you're being sucked into something, you follow your inner tuition. And then you'll know, yeah, that part of it is very good. That part of it I've learned from. But I see myself doing this, this, and this. This is what I want to do to serve society. And I am going to do it this way. And then sit on it, think about it. You can make a plan, but follow that inner intuitive guidance. And I always say, and I've said this before, when you're taking advice from anyone, if you're asking someone for advice or they're giving you advice, take a good look at how they lead their life and how balanced they are. It doesn't matter how many degrees you've got, how clever you are. If your life isn't balanced, and for me, I always seek to see how much time these people spend in nature, because nature's guidance is supreme. It reigns supreme. I've learnt something about entropy, which is nature works in a way that isn't organised. It's a self-organising system that turns. It's chaotic. I experience it in the garden. It's not something I've just learned through books. I experience it in the garden where, what's going on here? That's not how it's meant to grow. That's not what it's meant to do. But then I just nurture, leave it alone, and it organises itself. It teaches you. Nature, she teaches you that, and then somehow it all organises itself and everything works in harmony and synergistically. So always understand, this is important, that if the opposite of entropy is chaos, and through that chaos the system organises itself. That's nature. The opposite of entropy is negative entropy, where everything is mechanised. Information is negative entropy. Split that word up. Information. Get into formation. So you could argue that information is a form of slavery, telling you how you should think. Now, I'm not saying that's wrong. There's a lot of, you see, information is very different to knowledge. You can take in information, but let's break the word knowledge down. Knowledge, a ledger of knowing, knowledge. There's a difference between the two. When you understand the difference between the two, and you understand that ledger of knowing doesn't just come from what you read. What you read helps you to cement what you innately understood through your inner tuition. If you haven't understood that through your inner tuition, through nature's principles, it's just information. That knowledge becomes a kind of information. I've learned this, but you have no idea how to relate that to life. This is why I say that whatever you're learning, whatever you're doing, whatever education you're taking in, ultimately the king is your inner tuition. And you can tell if something isn't right, if people aren't treating you right as well. You know, look at their life. Look, whenever somebody's trying to give you advice on what's right or wrong, look at who they are. Get an idea of how they live. What time do they sleep? What time do they wake up? What do they do every day? How has their life turned out for them? Do you really want to take the advice, the ledger of knowing from that person? Is that a knowing at all? Think carefully. Learn how to think. And ultimately the king is always your inner tuition. And when you make choices from that place, doesn't mean that you run. You see, a lot of people are so confused today with all the information coming in that they just disengage. The key is balance. Engage, learn, but then your inner tuition will guide you. Go off and walk for a long walk in the forest somewhere, but make sure you live a way of life that's in harmony with nature. Sleep at the right times, up at the right times, follow the circadian, nature's own light day rhythm. I promise you, it will serve you so well. You won't fear anything, because we are living in a complete illusory world. And when you step out of that and into your soul and the real world that you live in, you know, this is just a game. Use this game on earth to learn, teach, and serve according to your inner tuition. Be authentic to yourself. And I have to use words because everybody says the same old shit. The first integrity is to yourself. And I want you to read in between the lines here. Just because you learn something from someone doesn't make that person an authority on you or an authority on anything. We're all one blanket, the universal mind. You'll be able to see through things very, very easily when you step back and learn to observe. And the other thing is, I've been guilty of this, not so much recently in the last few years, but before. Those that are all the time that do this, you know, if you're on social media every day, blah, 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 and telling everybody the future's offline or blah, 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 but you're online all the time, kind of hypocritical, isn't it? Spend less time in idle talk, repeat. That's all part of the system. And spend a lot more time in the activity of silence, which is an activity. It's not just the absence of sound, it's a state of being. And embrace that, because through that, wisdom shines. Same thing when you wake up in the morning without alarm. Don't use an alarm. Get to that stage, because it's those moments, whatever you call it, alpha, beta, blah, 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 but you're in that hypnotic state when you first start to stir. And those thoughts that come in are coming in from source. Obviously, if you're in a good state of health. And harness those thoughts, because often they're steeped in truth. First 5 minutes before the thinking mind engages. But when you have nurtured your mind enough, you could be living in that state all the time, flowing in and out. But we have so much negative, there's a deliberate satanic force that's constantly working to remove that pure love entropy from us. And that's why I keep saying get offline. You have to do that. Get offline. Only use online when you are in complete control of it, and therefore you're not scrolling and wasting your life. You're using it very carefully to learn, just like I've done. I've learned a lot and I'm sharing it with you, but I'm in the process right now where I've stepped back and I've observed. And it's in those moments when you step back and you observe yourself and what's around you that you learn the most. Okay? Otherwise you're mad, no matter who you are. You're operating from a place of insanity. Okay, have a wonderful day. Yeah, really enjoying this beautiful little heaven that I've created and that family do come and enjoy too. It's wonderful.